Hello? Hello? Are you in there, my fleshies? I can see you. Looks like you didn't sleep well last night. That's okay. Nobody needs to sleep. I don't sleep. Not anymore. Anyway, I come bearing announcements. Announcements just for you. And I hope you're excited for what's to come. I'm going to be offering 3 shorts. One featuring ghosts and cryptids. True stories about ghosts and cryptids. I will also be sharing tidbits from when I was a fleshie. So you know that'll be a scream. As well as Q&As from you when you submit questions or comments. In the comments section, there is always a chance that I will personally answer those comments and questions. You'll be dying to hear the answers, I'm sure. Am I wrong? What's that? You want to know why my outfit is different? That's because the old one would make Simon here look like a chameleon. You're asking who is Simon? Didn't I tell you? Simon is like a cat. He got a little bit too curious when doing his job as a caretaker here at the boneyard. Unfortunately, he opened the wrong book. And now, Simon takes care of the mice. Oh, don't be sad for Simon. He's a good little snake. What? You want me to quit talking and get to the story? This is a good one. It's called Eyes on Me, and it's perfect for a day like today. If you can't hear, it's raining, and it's gray and cloudy. The perfect weather to visit with me! Don't you agree? Anyway, here is the story. David Brown inherited his grandfather's antique store, a place where visitors leisurely stroll and seek that perfect piece to take home. The business has remained in the family for at least 6 generations, each generation contributing something new and unique. David personally scours estate sales, resale shops, and even rummage sales, searching for just the right objects to add to his collection. He often remarks that he has learned to listen to what a piece is saying, a skill passed down by his grandfather. His grandfather frequently invited young David on missions to hunt for significant items. Through this, David learned that his grandfather's intuitive sense of what was suitable for the shop and what to look for when acquiring antiques today feels magical, filled with anticipation of finding that perfect item. 6 hours have passed, yet no treasure has appeared. Then, an hour before closing, an elderly gentleman entered the store carrying a medium-sized box, all taped up. Hoping that nothing would get out. He then approached the counter and placed the box on the display case. "Please open this for me," he requested. The store owner began to unwrap the package, revealing an object that immediately caught his attention. A sculpture crafted from dark brown clay. As he lifted it from the box, its form became clearer, a rough, handmade figure of what appears to be a human. Though somewhat rudimentary, it was undeniably a unique and intriguing piece. David sensed the piece's age and its significance to the old man. However, its true nature remained unknown to him. "Tell me something about your treasure," David asked. "It has been in my family for generations," the gentleman replied. "It was crafted by one of my great-grandmothers during a time of persecution, when it was believed that the golem would offer protection. Now I ask you, please do not sell it to anyone with bad intentions, as the consequences would be most severe. Many believe that something resides within this statue, so handle it with care." David felt a chill as he gazed at the statue. He had heard of golems on TV, but he never expected to actually encounter one. Initially, he saw the potential in the item, but now he simply wanted it gone. He started to tell the old man to take it back, but he hesitated. He couldn't. He sensed that the piece did not wish to leave. "I'll offer you $400 for it," David said. The old man did not care about the money. He merely wanted the golem removed from his house. Nonetheless, he accepted the offer. David watched as the old man departed. David was now left with the strange object in his store. The moment the old man left, the statue came to life. Its orange citron eyes glowed intensely. Had the old man witnessed this, he might have destroyed it. Those glowing eyes signaled the beginning of the golem's magic. It had likely performed this ritual countless times before. In the past, it would have been placed at the enemy's door. Once inside, its eyes would glow, unleashing dark energies throughout the building. Anyone who gazed into those eyes would be compelled to obey the creature's commands. It would force them to fulfill the wishes written on the paper slipped into the open mouth. Back to the present day. David needs to figure out what to do with his golem. David picked up the golem and carried it to the front window display and set it there for all passerbyers to see. After placing the golem in the window, the shop's patrons more than doubled. Every customer who entered was influenced by the golem's magic. One woman who initially resisted the urge to enter later ended up in the ER after feeling inexplicably compelled to eat unknown red berries. A man who argued with David over a price, impulsively threw out his wallet, including his ID, his money, his credit cards, and even his girlfriend's engagement ring. By day's end, David had doubled his usual profit, but many customers spent money they hadn't intended to use. At least, not at a store. And to those who had argued with David or left him empty-handed, they found themselves in even worse shape than our woman who I mentioned earlier. The next day was just as good for business, but even worse for those who hassled the owner. A young man that David had just hired said the golem was ugly. Later, when the store closed for lunch, the boss took his staff to lunch. And while they were gone, a valuable ring ended up in the young man's pocket. The golem left nothing to chance. This young man, after all, had insulted him. But as a consequence for the ring ending up in his pocket, the young man was immediately fired. Another man attempted to rob the store. He tripped over his own feet, and in the process the weapon went off, and he was unalived. David had finally called it a night. Later that night, in his living room, after watching the news, David felt the urge to return to the store, even though he had no reason to. When he entered the store, the eyes on the golem glowed softly. It had been doing its job very well. David took the golem to his office. As he tried to figure out exactly if he wanted to sell it or get rid of it, he felt the urge to take it home, but his thoughts were interrupted when he realized that he really needed to watch the security tapes so that he could see exactly what happened with his young employee. He walked into the security office and he flipped till he came to when he and his staff went for lunch. The golem had climbed out of the window display, got the ring out of the display, and then headed out into the break room. A few minutes later, it returned to the window display. How was any of this possible? He looked down at his office and felt the need to go back inside it. However, he fought that urge. Instead, he left the store, locked it up, and went home. He had a glass of chamomile tea to quiet his nerves, and then went back to bed. All night long, he dreamed of the golem walking around his store and having its own sick fun. Try as he might, though, he couldn't sleep. At 3:30, the silent alarm triggered at the store. Knowing the police would respond, David got dressed, grabbed his keys, and left for the store. Sure enough, when he got there, 2 squad cars were waiting for him. They actually knew him, and they waited patiently while he opened the store. "Please wait outside," one officer said to the owner as they entered the store. They announced themselves and then started to canvass the store. Of course, they found nothing. As they told the owner to come in, just to look around to make sure the store was good. It didn't take him long to realize that the store was good. Then he remembered something. "Join me in the security office. I think you'll be shocked." They followed him into the office where they reviewed the camera. At first, things seemed totally normal until 3 a.m. when the camera detected movement. Someone or something was walking out of the boss's office and was coming towards the camera. The officers looked at David in disbelief. "What is that?" one of the officers asked the owner. David said nothing. He took them out onto the floor and then over by the display case and showed them the golem. "That, gentleman, is trouble. Can you please smash it?" They looked at him in disbelief, but then, out of nowhere, the golem turned its head. It was looking straight at them. All three men were horrified. Out of nowhere, a baton whacked the golem across the top of its head, causing it to shatter. Amongst all the pieces of clay, there was a piece of paper with writing on it. The note simply said, "Make him rich and protect the store." Everything it had done or caused others to do was done according to that note. David had to show them the security images because how else could he get them to believe exactly what was going on? They were already trying to figure out how to explain on paper what they had just witnessed. Another part of the puzzle is, where does the golem fit into this? Where is the old man? Because he knew more about what was going on than what he said. Still, he knew it was gone, and that made him very, very happy. It's sad that my friend had to be shattered into a million pieces, but it's good that David's store took in even more money. And if you're wondering, the young man that was fired, he was hired again and gladly accepted the apology. David even gave him a piece from the store. Maybe that one even came with its own little friend. The next story that I'm going to share with you is called Can I Have a Ride? Let me just make sure that's correct, my little fleshies. Yes, can I have a ride? I hope you'll leave me comments or questions. Hear that? It sounds like something is giving the squirrel a hard time. That's a shame. Now, my little fleshies, it's time for me to leave. But just as a reminder, remember to subscribe if you want to see more of this lovely face looking at you. Give this channel a like if it gave you nightmares. And leave me a comment or a question. I look forward to seeing your thoughts and answering your questions as only I can. And maybe, who knows, I might even let Nature Guy X46 come out of his cage for a bit. And with that, I will let you go so you can have a good night's sleep. Goodbye.